It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light. Before we get into the scriptures, I want you all to understand a specific word. And if you want to, you can look up this word before we start so that you have a good understanding of what it means. And that word is ministration. Ministration. And for all those who aren't able to look up the word or not able to go to a dictionary right now, or whatever the case may be, I'll read the definition for you here. Ministration is a noun that means the act of ministering or helping or taking care of people or providing for their needs. For example, in her last difficult years, she relied on the careful ministrations of her beloved husband. The careful ministrations of her beloved husband is the example that this definition gave. So we see ministering, taking care of, providing care for. You understand that? So we know that God's people, Israel, were ministered to so that they could be provided for or cared for. You see? Now, when you go to school, that would be your teacher who ministers to you. See it? And your teacher will minister to you and provide for you the needs and fulfill the cares that you have until you're old enough or mature enough or have advanced enough to go to the next level. So it is with Israel. Moses was our schoolmaster. See, our minister, our teacher, the one who provided for our needs and our cares at the level we were ready for it. That's the key. You don't give college prep courses to a kindergartner. You don't give algebra to a kindergartner. You have to take it step by step from each level, for each level. And each level has its own glory. And for instance, you graduate kindergarten, you get a kindergarten diploma, or at least I did. You get a diploma, say you graduated kindergarten, and then you go to grade school. So just because you got that diploma from kindergarten didn't mean you were done. It just means that the cares and the needs of that age level that you were at were met. So you should be able to read some and sound out this and understand what that is and know how to do this, simple mathematics and simple arithmetic and simple grammar. And you're not advanced, but you just understand little tiny bits of it, the beginning of it. And as you get older, your training will increase and your trainer will also increase. You see it? A person who has a master's degree has been through kindergarten, grade school, so on and so forth. And y'all understand this concept. I don't have to explain it in depth for you to understand this. So it is with Israel. That's the point. So you had a grade school teacher who took you from first grade or to 12th or K through 12, however y'all want to say it. And once you graduated and got your diploma in high school, see, here's another diploma you're getting. Didn't you get one when you finished middle school? You finished 8th grade. Now you're going to high school. High school. Middle school. Elementary. See how it's levels to it? Elementary, middle, high. And then what do we call college? Higher learning. So the School of Marvelous Light is that school of higher learning. You see it? It is the university for those who have come out of the schoolmaster's teaching, which is Moses, which is the law. And that's why you hear me teach what you hear me teach, like you're going to hear me teach today, so that all of you are made free. You see it? That's what the School of Marvelous Light does. It sets the captive free. Those who are in the prison houses are set free because I have been anointed to preach. In other words, I have been given the degree necessary and the what do you call it? The what do you guys call it? The credentials I have the credentials necessary now. That's what anointed means. You now have what you need to do the job. You're a master. So now, or a doctor. So now you can teach it. You see how the scripture says that they were doctors of the law? See, little flock of layers? Now, a doctor of the law, he would be able to teach you K through 12. See how it's going? But he can't teach you the higher elevated teaching that come from the university that is on Mount Zion, which is called the School of Marvelous Light. It is the most elevated university there is. And that's why I say, if you've been blessed to hear these words that are coming out of the School of Marvelous Light, then you would know and understand that you are elevated in consciousness now because of what you have heard. The words that you hear here set you free. They make you free. You see it, which I would hope is what everybody's looking for. So what is the difference between the two? Well, one is for the carnal mind, which is K through 12, and then the other is for the spiritual mind. And we're going to prove that. Now, as long as you're in the carnal mind, or K through 12, you have a veil over your eyes as to what the higher school is about. Like you, when you went to high school. You went to high school, but you had no idea of what college would be like. You had not ever seen the campus. You had never experienced it. You had never gone. You had never been privy to it. You have only been in the understanding of the level of where you're at, which is high school. But then once you get accepted because you did well in K through 12 and you get accepted to university, then you're going to get a higher elevated teaching, aren't you? All right, then. So let's go to the scriptures here. Now we understand that word ministration. You see there, little flock? All right. Go to 2 Corinthians chapter 3. We're going to start there. We're going to go through quite a few scriptures as we usually do. But we do this so that everything that we say is made crystal clear to you. Crystal clear. 2 Corinthians chapter 3. We're going to start at verse 3. Now watch this, little flock. For as much as you are manifestly declared to be the epistle of Christ, ministered by us. Ministered means taught. Epistle of Christ means the textbook or the lesson. Like we used to say in school, the ditto. Y'all remember when y'all had to get the ditto? And y'all did the math problems, had to turn your ditto back in? Y'all remember that in school? Well, that's the epistle of Christ. That's the book that we're reading to you at this School of Marvelous Light. You see it, little flock? Christ's words. Now watch this. He says, which are ministered by us, see, which are the professors, the masters, the doctors, like you see at college, the professors, you see? Written not with ink. So Yahushua's book was written with what? Blood, little flock. Is it not? It's written in his blood. So that's the book that we read to you. The words written in blood, not with ink. You see it? Watch this. But, see, that means on the contrary, with the spirit of the living El. You see it? Not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart. Stop. So now, why would he mention tables of stone? All of you who have been through K through 12 would actually know this answer. See what I mean? If you haven't gone through K through 12, then you will be completely flabbergasted when you get to college, won't you? You'll be lost. You won't be prepared. You won't even be able to get through your general courses to get to the advanced courses you would like to take. You won't even be able to do it because you haven't been prepared. You see? And so it is here. He says, but not in tables of stone. Now, what was written on tables of stone before? Abba's laws. Now, you guys have all heard of the 10 Commandments, correct? What are the 10 Commandments written on? Tablets of stone. Correct? All right, then. So, but with the spirit of the living God, not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart. So the tablets that God is writing on now is the heart. You see it, little flock? Not like K through 12. You see it? Not like K through 12. And such trust have we through Christ to Godward. Not that we are sufficient to ourselves to think anything of ourselves. So the professors, the ministers, the doctors who teach you this higher elevated teaching do not think anything of themselves. They're not standing in front of the class saying how great I am, how elevated and smarter than you I am, and this, that, and the third. That's not what they're doing. He says, but our sufficiency is of El. So all we brag about is what Abba has done. See? Who also hath made us able ministers. Remember the word, ministering. See, ministration. So he has made us what? Able ministers. See, masters and doctors of the new covenant who can teach it to you. See, he did it, not me. So I can't sit up here and tell you about what I did that made myself eligible or made myself able to do what I'm doing. Abba did it. Didn't I say that in my last video? Abba do it, not me. I said, I don't say these things prideful. I'm telling you of what Abba has done. See? See it? For instance, if a classmate stands up there before the class and says, hey, professor, who the hell do you think you are? Why do you think you're so good? You can stand up there and tell us about what the hell's going on. Abba did it. So take it up with him. Isn't that what he's saying here? All right, now watch this. Who also hath made us able ministers of the what? The New Testament, not of the letter. Stop. So then, wait a second here. Tables of stone and the letter go together. He didn't make me a minister of that. Now, I want to ask you guys, is that what I teach you? Or do I teach you something different? Do I teach you something new? What would you say? Am I teaching you the same old things that you have always already heard? Or have I taught you things you have never heard before? Let's just be honest. You who's listening, you can be honest and say, I don't know what you guys are so scared of to admit the truth. It's such a strange thing to me. Yeah, I know I learned something new, but I'm not going to say I did. Why? Why won't you? Why won't you admit the truth? Why are you here if you ain't here to learn something new? Interesting. Continuing, watch this. So he has made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. See that there little floccolators. But if the ministration of death, so which one is the ministration of death? The Spirit or the letter? Let you guys answer it. Now that you know what ministration means, which one is the ministration of death? Because it said right there that there is one. Well, let's get even more depth and see. But if the ministration of death, written and engraven in stones, was glorious, stop. So now, tell me some things that were written on those stones, guys. Tell me some stuff. Y'all all supposed to be experts at K through 12. Well, then tell me what you learned through K through 12. The ministration of death, is that what you learned? Why are you calling it that, grandson? I'm not. God is. See what I'm saying to you? I'm teaching a New Testament to you, not an old one. Continuing. But if the ministration of death, written and engraven in stones, was glorious, so that the what? Children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away with. So that means the students that were going through K through 12 marveled over the teacher of the K through 12. You see, they marveled over him. They couldn't understand how he understood the things that he knew. They actually couldn't understand what was the purpose of everything that he was teaching. Now, I want to ask you guys, when you're going through K through 12, you're telling me that everything you learned, you thought it was important to learn it? Or were there some things that you heard through K through 12 that you didn't think was important at all? I know I did. Why am I learning this trigonometry shit? I know how much change I'm going to get back when I spend my money here at the store. I know how much change I'm going to get back. I'm doing simple math. Why do I need to know trigonometry? See what I'm saying to you? So he says They couldn't steadfastly behold the face of Moses. So they couldn't attain to the teacher's level. You see it? They couldn't attain to his level of understanding or knowledge or wisdom. They couldn't attain to it. Watch this. Which glory was to be done away. I want to read that one more time. The ministration of death, written and engraven in stones, was glorious, which glory was to be done away. When you leave K through 12, you don't go back to K through 12. You leave there and go to college. And once you're in college, you don't go back to your high school and learn anything. You're advanced past there now. So that glory that you got when you got your diploma, think about what I'm saying to you, and you see how easy it is to understand. You got your cap and gown on, you got a robe and everything, you're throwing the cap all up in the air saying, yes, I did it, I made it, I finished. And then you went to college. So now when you're going to do that again when you graduate from college, aren't you? But this time you're going to have a degree. Now, which diploma is more glorious? Your college master's degree or your high school diploma? Which one is more glorious? Look how easy it is to understand. Now, when you get your college degree, the glory that you had on your high school graduation day is gone, isn't it? It's washed away because it has failed in comparison to this new glory you're now achieving. For instance, if you were the parent of that child and that child graduated from high school, you'd be very proud of them and happy. But once they go further and get their doctorate degree, you're going to be more proud. You're going to be more happy. It's going to be more glorious of an occasion than it was when they graduated high school. Why? Because they did something rare. When they graduated high school, they did something common. Oh man, that's why the glory is not as much. The harder thing to do gets more glory, correct? Well, in upside down, backwards world, yes. But in the kingdom of heaven, not so. They sought it by the works of their hands and not by faith. He says, my yoke is easy and light. So if you learn the spiritual way to do the law, now you're doing it right. But if you do it by the letter, then you're doing it wrong. See that there, little flock? Continuing. Watch this, verse 8. How shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious? Hear that? So which glory was done away in verse 7, which was the ministration of death. Now we see a ministration of the Spirit. So those are two different things. What is death? Watch how you guys are going to laugh when you actually hear the answer that I've been telling you all along. What is death? Death is the carnal mind. I have a video that said we caught death by the tail. See? He thought he was slick, running around, thought nobody could see him and nobody knew who he was until the marvelous light shone on his dumb ass. It's the carnal mind. So then watch what I'm telling to you, little flock. You have two choices when you read the law. See that there? You can either do it by what you read with your carnal eyes and your carnal mind's understanding of reasoning, or you let the Spirit guide you in all truth of what you're looking at. Because they're not going to give you the same thing. They're not going to give you the same ministration. Because one is a ministration of death and one is a ministration of life. Now, what do you mean ministration of death, grandson? It means that when you do something, there's somebody there to tell you that what you did is wrong and you deserve to die for what you did. Who is that? Moses or Christ? That's Moses. And what does Christ do? I judge no man. Go and sin no more. See the difference of the Spirit and the letter? That's why the letter killeth. Hey, what are you doing? You ain't supposed to be doing that. Come over and whoop your ass. That's killing with a law that's designed to save that child's life. And you'll have to do that while he's young. You must whoop him sometime. You must correct him. You must pop him. You must chastise him. Get him on a straight and narrow path. But once he's older and understands why you did all of that, now you don't need to do that anymore to him. All you need to do to him now is minister to him by the word. So you ministered two type of ways to your own child, and you think God don't do it to you. Well, let's keep reading. In verse 9, for if the ministration of condemnation, look at these words, death, condemnation. What did I just tell you? Hey, what you doing right there? You stole something. That's Moses telling you that. Don't steal. And he's going to whoop your ass while he says don't steal. In other words, that's how it's going to make you feel when you're caught stealing. You're going to feel shame. That's what you feel when you get your ass beat. You're going to feel condemned because that's what you feel when you do some sin. So that's what it's doing for you. And then you go through this process of shame and guilt and weeping and gnashing of teeth because of the wrong sin you've done. You stole, you bear false witness, you broke the commandments that were written in stone. And so since you did that, a stony response is coming for you. In other words, what did the Jews do when that woman was taken in adultery? Adultery is one of those things written on that stone. So then what happened when she was caught doing it? They were going to kill her. With what, guys? With a dart? With a machine gun? A firing squad was going to kill her? Were they going to burn her at the stake? What were they going to do to her, little flock? Stone her! Do you understand why now? Do you understand why? Because a stony heart will cause you to kill. A hard heart. That's what a stony heart is. Hard. I wrote it on hard hearts because they were not elevated. They were not aware of why yet. Isn't that what we just read? They couldn't steadfastly look at Moses and understand why he was doing what he was doing. Why are you doing this? Why? Because there's one who's coming that's going to teach you the why. And when you get to him, then you'll understand why I did everything that I did to prepare you for him. Continuing. For if the ministration of condemnation be glory, see, much more doth the ministration of righteousness exceed in glory. So there are two ministrations. One is the letter, one is condemnation, one is death. It's just the two minds that I'm telling you about. It's how you interpret what you have read. That's why Christ said, I didn't come to destroy. Why do y'all think I have? Because they are carnally minded, which only thinks death, which only thinks condemnation. But the spirit is life. Is that not what's written? So the spirit can only give you the life explanation to what you're looking at. I don't care if you're looking at your refrigerator. The spirit is going to tell you what life is that you're looking at. Your carnal mind is going to tell you what death is. So watch what I'm describing to you. Watch how easy this is to understand, little flock. Listen, you go to your refrigerator. Your carnal mind looks around in there and tells you everything in there that is not good for you. That's what the carnal mind does. And it's doing that because you think you're doing that to provoke you to eat healthy. So it tells you all the things you should not eat. Oh, damn, it's a hamburger. Don't eat that. Damn, it's some ice cream in here. Don't eat that. That's all you're looking at when you're in the fridge. Your carnal mind is. The spiritual mind is saying, eat that apple that you got in there. Drink some of that good water you got in there. Eat some of that salad you got down there in the bottom. Can y'all understand it? I'm using it as an example, but do y'all understand what I'm saying? There's two eyes looking at that refrigerator. One is telling you what to do to have the thing you're looking for, which is health. The other one is telling you what not to do. Can't you hear it? One is Moses and one is Christ. That's why when they came to Christ, they said, what good thing must I do to be saved? See, what do I have to do? And then he'd be like, keep the commandments. And they'd be like, I did. So then why are you asking me what you must do? You see it, little flock? Because of the veil. They got a veil. They're reading it with the carnal mind. So they judge it by the carnal mind. The carnal mind is death. And that's what we're reading about right now. You see it? Watch this. Watch this, little flock. 10. For even that which was made glorious had no glory in this respect. Do you understand that sentence right there? It means even the high school diploma that you got that seemed so glorious when you got it. You see? It had no glory in this respect. So your high school celebration and diploma you got had no glory, even though it felt like it did, didn't it? But it had none. Well, why didn't it, grandson? Because it says here, by reason of the glory that excelleth. So your high school diploma is a forgotten thing now to you because you're sitting there getting your doctorate, diploma, degree, whatever you want to call it. Now, because of that glory that excels the high school diploma, it's as if the high school diploma did never happen. That's what the Bible's telling you. But yet you got people running back to their high school diploma, running up to you with a doctorate degree, saying, look at my degree I got, sir. Look at it. You're trying to teach me something. Look at my high school diploma. You're just sitting there looking at them, shaking your head. You're just looking at them, shaking your head. You see it? So, by reason of the glory that excels it. Y'all understand that? For if that which is done away, look how it keeps talking about like it's a piece of paper crumpled up and throw it in the trash. But you don't think that when you see these people running up to you, yes, 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 I got my diploma, I got my diploma. Y'all remember Poochie? Poochie looking so much better, ain't he? He was all skinny before, now look at him. Got something to eat, got a little smile on his face. Hey, Poochie, Poochie. Hey, Poochie, Pooch. Feeling better? Hey, Pup, Pup. You feeling better? You feeling better, Pup, Pup? Well, good for you. You look better. All right. So he says, for if that which is done away was glorious, so your high school diploma, that memory of you throwing your hat up in the air saying, yes, I finished, I did it, I'm about to have fun this summer. So if that was glorious, much more that which remaineth is glorious. So you still got some more work to do. It remains to do some more work, right, little flock? So when you get your high school diploma, you feel all glorified, feel like you've accomplished it. But there's some stuff that remain, don't it? And what is that? That's college. And when you get your college degree, then that glory you had from having a diploma is forgotten. Nobody talks about it anymore. When you go to a job interview, you don't tell your job interview about your high school diploma if you have degrees. There's no need to. I'm going to go to my job. I have 6 degrees. I'm going to go to my job and tell him about my high school diploma. I ain't bringing that diploma up because my degrees let him know I must have had a diploma or else I couldn't have these degrees, can I? So there's no need in bringing up the glory of the diploma. Only glory I need to bring up is my degrees that I've gotten. Are they able to hear this? Because I do. I do. All right. Watch this. For if that which is done away was glorious, much more that which remaineth is glorious. See that? Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech. Now, this is also going to prove which covenant I teach about, the old or the new. Now, he said there's a New Testament that we have been made able ministers of. And those able ministers of the New Testament that have been made by God speak great plainness. Not just plain. They speak great plain. Do you understand what great plain means? Do you understand what the Great Plains is here in America? An area called the Great Plains. What was so interesting about that area, the Great Plains? Look it up. Go on Google right now and look up Great Plains, and America is going to pop up. And a great area of land in the country of America will pop up. What is it about that land that makes it called the Great Plains? It's flat. It's great for grazing. Now, if you have a little flock like the grandson of right thought has, where do I like to lead them? To a plain where there's plenty to eat. And then not only is it plenty to eat, it's accessible for everybody. That's why it's on a flat piece of land. So nobody has to overexcel one another to have any. They can all eat in peace. Isn't that easy to understand? So the new new able minister of the new covenant will speak great plainness, fair, and equity. He speaks in a way where everybody can understand what he's saying. He's not trying to be intellectual only because that doesn't appeal to the poor person who's trying to hear what you got to say. And as we know, many of the heirs of the kingdom are poor. So why do I want to sit up here and try to speak all eloquent and all elevated and without words that poor people use? When most of them poor people is people that's heirs. And aren't they hated and despised? Well, the Bible says you despise the poor. So you hate the inheritors of God's kingdom. So that's why you hate the way we speak plainly. That's why you hate it. You see it? Because it ain't meant for you. Ain't that what Yahushua said? They said, why do you speak the way you speak? because it's meant for you to hear it, not them. That's why I speak like that. Ain't it obvious, y'all? So watch this here. Watch how this is about to get, y'all. For if that, excuse me, that was 12, 13. And not as Moses. Wait a second here. So Moses didn't use plainness of speech. So do you see how the ministers of the old covenant, they don't use plainness of speech. They speak eloquent. They try to use very fanciful words. Is this not written in the Bible that this is what they do? They seek to be great orators. You see, what did Moses himself say? I don't speak well. Why are you trying to pick me to do it? I don't speak good. You see, watch this. He says, we use great plainness of speech, verse 12 and then 13, and not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished. The end means you completely understand it. They couldn't completely understand the thing that was going to be abolished, which is the high school diploma. They thought when they got that diploma, they were done. Can't you guys look at the world and see that that's what people do in it? A lot of people get their high school diploma and they never go to college because they figure this is sufficient for me to get the job done. That's what they're saying about Moses. Is it sufficient to get the job done? If it were, then why do we have a new? And no one can answer that. So then don't try to. Just submit. You see it there? Continuing. So he put a veil over his face. Now that veil that he has covering his face, which means you can't quite totally understand everything that he's saying to you. What will remove it so that you can understand it? What will remove the veil? When you go to college, it will show you that your diploma is not sufficient. You will think it is until you get to college. And then you meet your professor. And then he's going to show you that what you did wasn't perfect. You still need some more work to do. Can't you guys hear that? Okay, well, let's see if that's the case. Let's see. But their minds were blinded. What was blinded? Their minds. Why? Because they're carnally minded. Isn't that not what I told you? Isn't that not what I told you? You have to be spiritually minded to go to university, to come to the school of marvelous light. You have to be spiritually minded. If you're carnally minded, you will be offended by everything that you see here. You will think that I am not of God because of the great plainness I speak with. You will think that I'm not of God because of the plainness of how I look. You will think that I'm not of God because I'm simply a plain man, dwells in my own tent. Do you understand what plain means? It means perfect. The word is tom in Hebrew, and it means plain and perfect. So do you understand why he's made you an able minister? Which means you've been made perfect. Where? Mount Zion. Because that's where it says men come that have been made perfect, nigga. Can't y'all understand it? You have come to an assembly on Mount Zion of where the souls of just men made perfect are. Isn't that what it says? Plain. But their minds were blinded. Watch this. For until this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament. So the people that are carnally minded, when they read the Old Testament, they read it with a veil. There is a partition between the two minds. Can't you guys understand that? One is death and one is life. Lazarus was in life, but the rich man was in death. And there was a partition or a void between the two where they could not reach across and deal with one another. That's the way it is right now. If you're not spiritually minded, you can't deal with me. There is a void between the two of us. You remain in death while I remain in life. And the reason why you think I'm in death is because you are. And so you project and you smear me with what you're going through. And that's what you see all over the world. The high school diploma people are jealous and envious of the college graduates. Oh boy. All right. The same veil is untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament. Now, I asked you what removes it. He says right here in verse 14, which veil is done away in Christ, the master, the professor. See, I told you. You thought what you had was sufficient until you met the professor. And then you found out, wait a minute, I'm lacking a whole lot. That's why all those old Torah keepers were coming to Christ saying, I have done it all. What do you mean, Yahushua still got something else to make me perfect? What you mean make me perfect? I've done it all. I am perfect. Well, lackest thou this one thing, nigga? I'm the professor telling you the truth. You lack something. So can't y'all see what I've been describing to you? I've kept these commandments from my youth up. That's Moses. See? But you had a veil that's about to be taken away right here when Christ talks to you. And what did Christ tell him? You ain't perfect yet. And that man left sorrowful and couldn't even do what Yahushua told him to do. So then you ain't keeping no commandments. You just thought you was. See it? Still got the veil on your shit. Verse 14, 15. But even unto this day, look how it keeps saying that. When Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. You honor me with your lips, but your heart is far from me. If you're in the carnal mind, then your mind is far from me, which is the spirit. Isn't that true? God is a carnal mind or a spirit. And those who worship him must worship him in the carnal mind or in spirit. So then can you worship God if you're carnally minded? No. So that's what he means when he says, to this day, Moses is read, there's a veil upon their heart. Nevertheless, watch this. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to I am, what? Your heart. When it shall turn, that means repent. When it shall turn to I am, the veil shall be taken away. Once you become spiritually minded, then the veil that has been blocking you from seeing the truth the whole time, that is that you love one another, it's revealed to you. The truth is, wow, it's about love. That's what it is. Isn't that what Christ elevated? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. People talking about Christ is elevating the 10 Commandments. Guys, the Torah keepers were elevating the 10 Commandments. Y'all don't get it. It was already being elevated when Christ came. Why else would that woman be talking about, or they were saying they were going to stone that woman if the 10 weren't being elevated? What were they elevating to stone her? What were they using to stone her? What were they using to attack Christ? The Sabbath day, they said. Isn't that written on the stone as well? The Sabbath day? So then what were they elevating, guys? So you guys are telling me that they elevated it and then Christ came and re-elevated the same thing? Or did he elevate a new thing? He told you, I give you a new commandment. He didn't say, I come to give you the same commandment again. He said a new one. See? Continuing. Watch this here. Watch this here. All right, verse 16. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to I am, the veil shall be taken away. Watch this. Now I am is that spirit. And where the, see how I'm saying it's the spirit? And where the spirit of I am is, there is liberty. See it, little flock? Once you become spiritually minded, you are now made free from carnal things. Spiritual things are love, kindness, patience, long suffering. And if I'm doing that, then I cannot sin, can I? If I'm in the process of being patient with a person, then I'm loving them. If God sees me do that, will he condemn me? You notice how I'm not saying what I'm not doing to that man? I'm only telling you what I am doing to him? Come on, guys. Wake the fuck up. Stop letting niggas play with you today. But we all, with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of I am, are changed into the same glory from glory to glory, even as the spirit of I am. From glory to glory. I told you, you got a kindergarten diploma, then you graduated elementary, and then you went through middle school, and then you went through high school. See the glory to glory to glory, and then you went to college and finished. See it? All right. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 11. All right, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 11. We're going to start at verse 16. Ezekiel 11, chapter 11, verse 16. Therefore say, he's telling Ezekiel what to say to the children of Israel. This is what he tells him to say. Watch this. Therefore say, thus saith, I am love. Although I have cast them far off among the heathen. See that there, little flock? So you, God's people, have been cast off and scattered among the nations. You understand that? And because you've been scattered, you feel like I am legend. Because I am legend is going on now. Because if you're spiritually minded, then what are you surrounded by? You're surrounded by carnally minded people. That's all that it is that's going on. You guys want to see something with your eyes to tell you something is different about you. It's not. It is your mind state that's different about you. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. So it doesn't matter what I see with my eyes. It's what he thinks in his heart. That's what's important. And a carnally minded man thinks something different in his heart than a spiritually minded man. A carnally minded man is death. Spiritually minded man is alive. See how what I'm saying to you? It's not has anything to do with the outside appearance. It has to do with the state of your thoughts and feelings. Well, let's get into it some more and see. Let's get into it some more and see. So he said, he cast you off among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come. So when you're scattered, Abba won't leave you comfortless. He'll still be there as a little bit of safety and a little bit of comfort for you in those strange places because you don't have anybody else. You only have carnally minded people around you. That was the point of him scattering us. He didn't scatter us so that we could still have friends and still have family and still have this, still have that and comforts of the world. He scattered you so that you become uncomfortable, so that you see what happens to you when you don't love your people. You get scattered. And then when you get scattered, you're going to be like I am legend, like I told you, looking at a mannequin, which is a carnally minded person, saying, why don't you talk to me? You don't have any empathy or something? Why don't you comfort me? Why you won't talk to me? That's what Will Smith was saying, I am legend. And that's what you find yourself saying to the people around you. See? Because they're mannequins. Isn't a tear a mannequin? But because it can move around and talk, you wander after it. Yep, you wander after the beast, the carnal mind, because it can move and talk and do shit. So you think, wow, it's awesome. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's death. Better get hip to that. So he says, y'all got scattered. See, now what's the point of scattering your people if they were loving one another? They got scattered because they weren't. That's simple. Therefore say, thus saith I am love. I will even gather you from the people. So Abba did here, he scattered us, but what did he say he's going to do? He's going to gather us back. You see? I will gather you from the people, the mannequins, from the tares. You see it? And assemble you out of the countries where you have been scattered. And I will give you the land of Israel. When? When you keep the New Testament. When you keep the new covenant, which is to love your neighbor as yourself. That's why you got scattered, because you weren't loving each other. Simple. And you think you can keep hating each other and keep Torah? Well, that's what the Israelites thought. That's what they thought, because they're carnally minded. And if you think using the carnal mind, then you're thinking something that ends in death, because the wages of sin are what? Sin means wrong thought. So the wrong thoughts pay you with what? Death, nigga. That's simple. All right. And they shall come thither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. See it? And I will give them one heart. See that there, little fly? How many hearts we gonna have? One. See it? And I will put a new spirit within you, and I will take the what heart, little flock? The stony heart out of their flesh. What is the stony heart? You just read it in Corinthians. The tables of stone and not the tables of flesh. That's a hard-ass heart. That's what he's removing from you. Gosh golly, I don't know if they can hear this. I don't know if they can hear it. He says, and I will give them one heart. I will put my new spirit, see, new, spirit within you, and I will take the stony heart out of their flesh and give them, wait, and give them an heart of flesh. See how it's all connecting with what we've already been previously reading? See how we are in the old and the new, proving the same things? You see, little flock of laters. So the new confirms the old, or the new shows you how to be perfect using the old, or fulfilling it, like Christ said. Okay? In other words, watch this. You're at the refrigerator, like I said earlier. You got all kind of bad things in there that you could eat that won't give you the health you're looking for. So your carnal mind starts telling you what not to eat, like I said. But your spiritual mind is going to tell you what? What to do to obtain the health. So instead of me burdening you, do you know how long I'll have to tell you what not to eat for you to be healthy? Do you know how long we'll be sitting here? But do you know it'll only take me a couple of minutes to tell you what's healthy that you can eat to give you this, what you're looking for? It only takes me a few seconds to tell you that. So then what should I do? Spend all 1,000 years telling you what don't eat, smacking your hand every time you reach for something out of ignorance, or just pointing out what is good for you. Eat that, and then you'll have what you're looking for. Now your eyes are set on that thing. It's only looking for the thing you need, right? So it is with us. But people can't understand, how can I not look at that other stuff? It's your carnal mind telling you that. Fear is telling you that. Love don't make you think that. See? Love don't have doubt. Fear does. And watch this. 20. Why is he giving us this new heart and everything? That they may walk in my statutes. So can you walk in God's statutes without having the new heart? The new spirit in the new heart? No. So look at all these hard-hearted ass people that have not even been born again, have not even been converted, nor do they have the new spirit, but yet they're telling you how to keep God's ways. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm telling you that right now. Many deceivers have gone out thinking that they know something, thinking that they're going to bring somebody under some type of covenant when all they're doing is bringing people into bondage, just like Yahushua said that they were. If a nigga is blind, then he's only leading you to a ditch. And he says that that's where the religious leaders of his day were going. And the religious leaders of his day upheld Moses' teachings and they sat in Moses' seat. So then they were high school teachers sitting in the classroom teaching the students. And they were blinding them from the higher education of the school of marvelous light that's available to them to perfect them. Isn't that what Yahushua was saying? All right then. All right then. So he says that they may walk in my statutes and keep mine ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their love. But as for them whose heart walketh after the heart of their detestable things and their abominations, I will recompense their way upon their own heads. So there's a separation. And how is it the separation being done? Internally. Isn't that what's going on here? If you got the same dirty, nasty, carnal heart, then guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to get the payment of that. And what is the payment of wages of sin? Death. All righty then. That's what he says I want to pay you with here. All right. Now, go to Ezekiel 36. So we see it's the same thing going on. There's an internal shift going on where God changes the heart that you have. Originally, you had a carnal, stony heart. But he had to take that thing out of you. So he had to reach in the ark and pull those tablets of stone out of the ark. Can you hear it, little flock? Because the ark is your heart. And then he's going to put a new inside of their heart, which is what? Love your neighbor as yourself. Now tell me if that's not what's going to be put in there. The new. You got to have a new spirit. He says you can't put new wine in old wineskin. The new is what? What's the new wine? Love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You cannot tell a carnal-minded person that, can you? Carnal-minded is selfish. Can you tell a selfish person how to love somebody? You cannot. It is impossible for a carnal-minded person to love. Well, then it's impossible for them to know God. Now, what did Yahushua say when he came? Y'all don't know my Father. I've come to reveal him. So if you guys want to know what God is or how God's personality is or what God will do on the earth if he was here, look at Yahushua. And he's going to show you the Godhead bodily. See it? You've seen me, you've seen the Father. That's what he said. All right. Ezekiel 36, start at verse 18. Wherefore I poured my fury upon them for the blood that they had shed upon the land, and for their idols wherewith they have polluted it. Stop. Same thing I just told you. Not loving your brother as yourself means you shed blood. You were killing. And so because of that, you became abominable. And you shed that blood in that land, and you had idols, which made you pollute the land. What is an idol? Anything that's outside of your body is an idol that you hoist up and say it gave you power. So idols or Israelites are what's being talked about here. So let me give you guys some example about what the Israelites do today. Idolatry. They do tarot card. They got that shit real bad. Even the men now are doing it. It used to just be a Israelite woman thing. She'd get on there in her little head wrap with her 3 or 4 nose rings and 3 or 4 piercings in her lip and some kind of dark lipstick and heavy eyeliner on and maybe some locks wrapped up in a headpiece like I told you. And she's got her cards and she's burning some sage and she's talking about positive energy and bringing good energy in. And I'm going to ask the ancestors this. That's idolatry. You're looking to something outside of you to give you an answer other than the heart that he gave you. He said he going to give you something. And now that after he gave you that, that's going to make it possible for you to do what's pleasing to him. But you think tarot cards are pleasing to him, okay? You think stones, that's idolatry. This stone that I have on allows me to see through what people when people are lying to me. This stone allows me to see through the lie. Really? That's idolatry. That's idolatry. Look at this big building we've built for the church. Idolatry. Look at all this land I've purchased and look what I've built upon it. Idolatry. None of that is inside. Can you hear that? All right then. All right. So he says, I scattered them among the heathen. See, just like we just read. And they were dispersed through the countries according to their way and according to their doings, I judged them. So based off of what you did, little flock, it determined where you ended up when you got scattered. So a lot of us ended up right here in this place called America in slavery, didn't we? So the ones that are here in America must have all been guilty of something that caused us all to be here. So what does America give you? And that'll tell you what your sin was. Lust, death, murder, conniving, lying, stealing, destroying. Coming under the fake disguise of a friend or a helper. That's what America does. It goes across the earth acting like it's a great friend or coming to do something good for you, but it's only doing it for its own personal gain. So if you did that, you ended up here in America. And whatever other place the way you're scattered to, they got their own shit that they got over there too. You see it? And if you scattered over there, your sin led you over there. You see it, little flock. Whatever you was lusting after, whatever you wanted, whether it was vainglory, whether it was pride you had, gluttony, you're going to end up in a place where that's what it's known for. And so you did. You see them? And when they entered unto the heathen, whether they went, watch. So when they got there, what happened? What did they do? They profaned my holy name. What is his name? What is his holy set apart name? I am. So when you got into slavery, what did you say about I am? I am a slave. You profaned his name by saying that. I'm poor. I'm disenfranchised. I am everything that the black people have said in America about their existence here. That's taking the God's name in a profane way. And the reason why that happened to you is because of your own sin. You see it? Now watch this. They profane my holy name when they said to them, these are the people of I am, and are gone forth out of his land. But I had pity for what? My holy name, I am. So if you change how you speak about that name, he will have pity on you. You got to change your heart in order to speak different about that name. Because that name was not taught by Yahusha. It was taught by Moses. And it was confirmed by Yahusha. That's the veil that they got. You ask a bunch of Torah keepers what's God's name, and they're going to say something other than I am. Even though Moses, the one that they trust in, said that was God's name forever. He was the one who introduced it to the Israelites. You see it? All right then. All right then. But I had pity on my holy name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen, whither they went. You see it? Therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith I am love. I do not this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for mine holy name's sake. So what have I been preaching to you guys about the Father's name? Don't you understand now by reading this why I'm preaching that? Why I'm a Negro in America preaching that? Doesn't it make perfect sense? A descendant of the slaves is the one preaching this message of freedom. Can't you hear it? And the freedom is found in the Father's name, because that's what he's going to have pity on. He doesn't respect persons. He respects his name. That's why it says he could swear by no higher than his own name. So he did. See, little flock. So come into that knowledge of his name and come into truth, because that's the one heart he's talking about, guys. I am safe. Now, if you guys are doubting what I'm telling you is true after all these years, then come on. What else can I say to you at this point? You're a fool that continues to look at what I'm saying and say that has nothing to do with it. I am safe and I am healthy and I am blessed and all that. I don't give a fuck. I'm looking at my circumstances and I'm going to let it tell me what I am. Carnal mind. You don't have the new mind. You're not new wine. You ain't got the new mind because you ain't new wine. So you'll stay at the back of the line because your ass ain't divine. Matter of fact, you're real dirty and stinking like some slime. Your thoughts is all sour like some lime. My knowledge is like $1. Your knowledge is like a dime. I want me to keep going or what? All right. He says, and I will what? Sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen. See, my great name, which you have profaned in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am love. Says, I am love. When I shall be sanctified in you. See, in you. You're saying I am loved, I am healthy. That's being sanctified in front of all the Gentiles that's looking at you saying, what's this stuff you talking about? See how God brought us down so that he could lift up everybody? Guess y'all can't hear it. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather, excuse me, I go too far? Okay, verse 24. And I will gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I clean you. Verse 26. And a new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you. Well, I ask you what causes a man to keep God's ways. Now he's making it even more in-depth and clearer. And I will cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I will be your God. And I will also save you from all of your uncleanness, and I will call for the corn and will increase it, and lay no famine upon you. And I will multiply the fruit of the tree and the increase of the field, that you should receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen. Reproach means correction. Famine is a scourge to correct humans. And they look at a famine and just say, oh, there's nothing going on. We didn't do anything wrong. Okay. Then you shall remember, listen at this, your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and your abominations. Ain't it right? Once you get converted and you see your old darkness, ignorant ways, then you hate that life. What does the Bible say? Any man who hateth not his life in this world is not worthy of me. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Not for your sakes do I this, see, says I am love. Be it known unto you, be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Israel. See that there? Let's go to Jeremiah, chapter 31. Let's go to Jeremiah, chapter 31. All right, verse 31. Behold, the days come. Y'all know this scripture. says I am, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they what? Break. They broke it. So that's why he gave a new. So why are you trying to keep something that's broken? A lot of people do. They'll break something and they try to keep it and they try to hold on to it, and it's just sitting there. It'll never get fixed. It'll never get repaired. It's just sitting there, but they won't get rid of it. What profit is that? People are doing that here. You see it? They're doing that here with the old and new covenant. The old, they broke, and yet they're still trying to say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. It's broke already. Can't do shit. All right. Although I was a husband to them, says I am. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in their what? Inward part. Didn't I tell you? Inward part. And write it in their hearts. In their inward parts, and write it in their hearts. And will be their God, and they shall be my people. You see how it's saying the same thing Ezekiel said twice? Same thing Corinthians said? The Bible continuously says this. You see it? He says, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, know I am, for they shall all know me. That's what I'm telling you guys. Once the last flocculator comes out and joins us here on Zion, we don't have to teach each other anything else, because the knowledge of I am has now been made known to those who are standing on Zion. That's why only the ones who have the seal of the living God in their foreheads are standing on that mountain. And that mountain is called Zion. And guess who else is standing on that mountain with those 144,000 Israelites? Yahushua is. Where I am, there you may be. Y'all understand the work the grandson is doing now? Do you understand the labor I do every day? Is it vain labor to do what I'm doing? Can't say that it is. Can't say that it is. He says, for they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest, says I am. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. You see it? All right. One more verse, and then we'll be done. Hebrews chapter 3. Hebrews chapter 3, verse 3. For this man was counted worthy of more glory than Moses, inasmuch as he who hath builded the house hath more honor than the house. Stop. For this man was counted worthy of more glory than Moses. Who? So Moses was a lawgiver. Now there's another lawgiver who has more glory than Moses. And if you connect all the dots throughout this message that we've been reading from the beginning, then you know exactly what I mean by that more glory. There's one who teaches how to get a high school diploma. And then there's another one who teaches you how to get a degree. Which one of those teachers is the greater? Then this is easy to be understood, little flock. So while y'all like to have your high school diploma in your hand, and you like to lord that over other people, because that's what I see in the world. That's what I see. How many of those Israelites that you see on the street that are yelling at people, that people are always talking about, they're all yelling and screaming and hollering. How many of those people stand on Moses when they talk? Now, how many of those people on the street stand on Yahushua when they talk? It's very simple and easy to be understood. It's very simple and easy to be understood. How many over-righteous people of Yahushua's day felt that he was disgusting, nasty, and dirty, and lawless? How many of them thought that? Well, they said he did what he did by the power of Beelzebub. Would that be calling somebody lawless? Would that be insulting somebody? Yeah, I'd say so. Would that be blaspheming? Yep, I'd say so. So like I said, little flock, this conversion that takes place inside of a man changes what he does from the inside. It doesn't change what he does on the outside. It changes what he does on the inside. And because he has changed the inside, the outside changes. You notice he's not trying to change the outside. He doesn't stretch forth his hand into this realm to manipulate it. He changes it in here. He manipulates what he see by how he feel. And that's why he said, overcome evil with good. Evil means double-minded. Two minds inside of you. Overcome those two minds with the right thought and be single-minded on that right thought. Whereas Christ said, let your eye be single. For somebody that's supposed to be doing something wicked or wrong or unprofitable, I sure do know Yahushua very well. I wonder how that's the case. Abba made that able to be with a conversion of a heart and a spirit from within. You see it? So the old man that I once was is gone and dead. And he ain't coming back. Do y'all understand the depth of what I mean by he ain't coming back? Silawam Israel.